All right, thank you very much for staying. You're still watching With All Due Respect Extended Version. It's time for the editorial of the day. And as you can see, let me pull the... okay, so Nana Akufo Addo, and you be prove you have said Nana Akufo Addo is a fake lawyer and that he never practiced law in France. Nana Akufo Addo, the president of the Republic of Ghana, onye lawyer, one practicing law bia in France. Say, ote baby say Nana Akufo Addo say or practicing law in France from 1970 to 1975. Tell him, say, he's a liar. And I'm going to prove this to you. I am going to add documents to it. I'm going to send this out after the show. With all due respect, on the ground, Mr. P, Mr. S, watermark it and put it out there. Before I start the editorial of the day, I want you people to understand, say, if any journalist in Ghana, from wherever media house to wherever media house, investigative, whatever, say, on second this document, if you get this document, I want somebody to prove me wrong. I want a journalist in Ghana to follow up. The contacts are on it, where the source is also. I want one journalist in Ghana to go and do a fact-checking job for me. And see, say, if I am lying, and I say, it is important. I really need that. And I really need somebody to do that. A media house should do that. Because I am going to show you documents from 1970 to 1980. Names of almost 700 lawyers are Omone Kude brothers. A law firm, a American law firm, na omo ebi ewo UK, ewo bi of France. Nana Akufo Addo say, one omo France no eye adwuma for almost 4 years. And Sana Oba Ghana 1975 to be sworn in as a lawyer. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because for a very long time now, Nana Akufo Addo has paraded or carried himself as a renowned lawyer who worked in France. Even in the UK, Nana Akufo Addo keeps telling us, say, he has worked there as a lawyer. Till date, he has not been able to prove it. Remember, Akufo Addo was asked the law certificate when he said it's missing. Now, as journalists, it's our job to make sure that people who lead us or are leading us today, we get to know who they are. They really are, what they stand for. Now, what I'm about to show you today, or the things I'm about to put out today, before your best son paso Ghana. I kept telling you people, Akufo Addo was cooked. Akufo Addo isn't a lawyer. Nana Akufo Addo, he was prepared by the media, Gabi, the Ghanaian Statesman newspaper, those things, they cooked Akufo Addo for us. Now, sir, Uko Akufo Addo Wikipedia page. This is what you see there. And let's take our time and look at Akufo Addo, the resume, the Wikipedia page, when you go to early life and education. Nana Akufo Addo was born in Swalaba, Accra, Ghana, on 29th March 1944. To a prominent Ghanaian royal and political family as the son of Adeline and Edward Akufo Addo. His father, Edward Akufo Addo from Ikropon Ikuapem, was Ghana's 3rd Chief Justice from 1966 to 1970. Chairman of the 1967 to 68 Constitutional Commission and the non-executive president of Ghana from 1970 till 1972. Akufo Addo's maternal grandfather was Nana Akufo, king of Achim Ibuakwa, who was a member of the Executive Council of the Governor of the Gold Coast before Ghana's independence. He is a nephew of Kofi Asante Akufo and William Akufo. J.B. Dankwa, William Akufo, his grand-uncle was J.B. Dankwa, another member of the Big Six. He started his primary education at the Government Boys' School at Dabraka and later went to Kimbu in Accra Central. He went to England to study for his O-level and A-level examinations at Lancing College, Sussex, where he was nicknamed Billy and joined the Anglican faith. He began the philosophy, politics, and economics course at New College, Oxford in 1962, but left soon after. Let me take this again. He began the philosophy, politics, and economics course at New College, Oxford in 1962, but left soon afterwards. He returned to Ghana in 1962 to teach at the Accra Academy before going to read economics at the University of Ghana, Legon. In 1964, earning a BSc Econs or economics degree in 1967 with a third class. He subsequently joined Middle Temple and trained as a lawyer under the apprenticeship system known as the Inns of Court, where no formal law degree was required. Let me take this again. He subsequently joined Middle Temple and trained as a lawyer under the apprenticeship system known as the Inns of Court, where no formal law degree was acquired. He was called to the English Bar, Middle Temple, in July 1971. He was called to the Ghanaian Bar in July 1975. Akufo-Addo worked with the Paris office of the U.S. law firm Coudet Brothers. I'm going to take this again. Akufo-Addo worked with the Paris office of the U.S. law firm Coudet Brothers. In 1979, he co-founded the law firm Prempeh & Co. So as you can see from Nana Akufo-Addo's Wikipedia page, or basically his life achievements and his educational background, he got third class in Legon. He came to the UK. He actually was an apprentice at a law firm. It wasn't any formal, he wasn't given any formal certificate. He wasn't actually issued a formal certificate to say that he actually completed law school. And the same Wikipedia or the same record shows that he worked at Coudet Brothers. And Coudet Brothers, an American law firm that had branches in the UK, France, and the US itself. So Akufo-Addo said that he worked with them. Now remember, I am trying to find this video, and I need to find it because it will really help us. I'm trying to find a video. Akufo-Addo had an interview with the French ambassador in Ghana on the ground. I need to find this because it's very, very important that we play that video. The reason why I want us to play that video, Mr. S, get me that video. It's very, very important. I really need it. Akufo-Addo was interviewed by the French ambassador in Ghana. And he stated in that interview that he actually worked in France with the Coudet Brothers. Now, what I'm trying to do right now is to go to find you the video. Send it will make the conversation very, very easy. Mr. S, I was supposed to pull this. I don't have it here. If you have that interview, Akufo-Addo and the French ambassador, send it to me right now. We need that video right now because I need to play for listeners to also hear for themselves what Akufo-Addo said when he had that interview with the French ambassador. It's very important. So, Mr. S, if you can pull that out for me, I'll be very, very happy before I move forward with this expose. Let me see. I know I'm going through the archives. I know it was sent some time back. Let me see. Yeah, so I've not found it. Mr. S, try and pull it, and then let me have it here on the system. You can send it through all the platforms. I will get it. I'm hoping I get it here, because the reason why I'm here when is me pesa Ghana phone nyina ete in 7 ase. Na obi nka se me ka asem ehye Akufo-Addo ano. I don't want that. Anytime me betena ha I always try to play what it's on record. Oh, and Kevin the Kaye, even in an interview with the French ambassador, Nana Akufo Addo himself said that. I know, Mr. S, you pull this out for me quickly. MIAUZ. So I'm going to go ahead and do the editorial. So video, when it comes in, what I'll do is I'll pause and play the video so that when he had that interview with the French ambassador. I'm worried. I really need to have this. Mr. S, try and pull that for me. It's important. Akufo Addo and the French ambassador. I take the blame for this, Mr. S. I was supposed to let you know when we were doing the production to have all this ready. This is my fault because we were too busy today. Too many things were happening. So if you get it, Mr. S, if you can hear me, give me a signal that you are okay. Mr. S, thank you very much for bringing the video in. Thank you, Mr. S. Let me try and get you the video right now. What he said when he had a conversation with the British ambassador. Thank you, Mr. S. Thank you very much. This is what he said. Let me move the video here. So let's listen to Akufo Addo when he met the French ambassador when he was talking about practicing law in France.
My question is, would you know what the Ghanaian anthem, the first words would be in French?
God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make her greater so. Que Dieu bénisse notre patrie, le Ghana, et ronde notre nation grande et forte. Quelque chose comme ça.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And your anthem is full of hope. Ours was obviously a war song. Ours
a revolutionary
song.
Yeah.
So what would for our viewers be Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. What would that be in English or in Twi, whatever, but you know, how
in English.
Yeah.
Arise, children of the fatherland. Our day of glory is at hand or near.
Is it right?
Okay. So this is part of the interview. This is the one Akufo Addo was trying to explain the anthem. In fact, Mr. S says he's very, very sorry. He got us the part that Akufo Addo was actually reciting the anthem. That is not it. I know Mr. S will pull that one for us very, very soon. Opulibas is here now. What I'll do is I'll play that. But before it comes in, Mame and go ahead with the editorial. So Nana Akufo Addo told Ghanaians, as I read to you the information, say he worked in France. Now we are going to concentrate with the Kude brothers. The Kude brothers, in Miami, because what Akufo Addo said or practice here. Now the history about Kude brothers here, Kude Ferrez or Kude brothers LLP, where he claimed to have two have worked a New York-based law firm with a strong international outlook. Sorry for the typos there. It was in practice from 1853 until its dissolution in 2006. Kude brothers from 1853 all the way to 2006 and existed here. It was dissolved in 2006. From 1853, they active. They were working out to 2006 and a company no eguye. Now the founder is called Frederic René Kude Sr., Charles Kude Jr., Louis Lyons Kude. Ono neba and so also Kahuna established this law firm. Now, date founded was 1853 or New York City. At the time of its dissolution, it had number of attorneys 650. In 2006, time na Kude brothers law firm gunu totally non lawyers partners over 650. So you have to understand, say Kude brothers it is not a small law firm. It is not Prem Pay and Go. It is a big law firm. And the reason why Kude brothers are very, very famous and are very reputable and for big lawyers around the world, respect them and they say they have been very consistent as a law firm internationally, and when I say locally, in America, in the UK, reputable lawyers have worked with this law firm. Even at its weakest point, I just say company the ebegu baby krana eduse ebegu krano. It has been around for 153 years no. Ebegu krano it had over 650. Time na ebegu krano lawyers are not omni. Now you have to understand that this law firm is not a small boys law firm. Now Akufo-Addo in his reason what they ashamed say oni kude for and a year juma time na our France from 1970 to 1974. Now the question everyone is asking say when Akufo-Addo was with Kude Brothers law firm now France what kind of practice what kind of lawyer was Akufo-Addo? Was he a corporate lawyer? Was he practicing corporate law? Like, is it a corporate practice? Time na or na a criminal practice. Na a civil. And I say something like commercial law. Was it criminal law, commercial law? And I say corporate law. This is something Akufo-Addo has not really spoken about. Even though we know Kude Brothers to be a law firm, they were basically a law firm. They were an international law firm for international companies, multi-million-dollar companies. They make sure they see to contractual agreements and a whole lot of international agreements and monetary issues. Now the issue is Akufo-Addo kasa say only Kude Brothers for Juma of France, but he did not specifically say what he did. Because if you are a lawyer, if you are practicing in France, you should have your field. You should have a specific field that we are good at and partners you work with. But to date, Akufo-Addo has not been able to tell Ghanaians, time and now our Kude Brothers, and also our Juma Kude Brothers, specifically law and oye. Now, let us move forward. I am trying to get you the video from Mr. S. Senebeya. It will be easy because that interview has a lot in it. Now, do you know, sir, when you go to Air France, there is an organization, and I say a body, and I say institution, their job, and they say lawyer bia obeba Ghana, obeba France. Any lawyer that comes to France, one practice of France, and I say we need a certificate of France, Oba, they have to give you permission or authorization to work in France. And that body in France, it is called the Council National du Bureau, and my friend CNB. So when you go to France, that body is there. Amuna sawoye lawyer, ebi ufri, what we call maybe ufri UK, like Akufo-Addo came from the UK. To practice in France, you will need to send all your documentations, all your certificates, all your documents that shows that you are actually a lawyer for them to clear you, for them to give you authorization to work in France. They are called CNB, Council National du Bureau. I have personally called that office and I've asked them, say, look or check your data. Was there anyone called Anna? Was there at a point in your work from 1970 to 1980? That's why I'm saying Akufo-Addo may matter gap more. 1970 to 1980. Lawyer be for UK by a friend Nana Akufo-Addo obe practice with Kude Brothers. Now those watching me, Council National du Bureau, you're closing it down. It has not been closed down. You can contact them. You can call them. You can email them. The journalists listening to me tonight. Council National du Bureau. And I say, Bureau National du Council. And is the same. Thank you very much, Al-Hassan Jr. Bureau National du Council. To check. Say, was there a point between 1970 with a Dragonako to 1980? Say, a lawyer from UK, a friend Nana Akufo-Addo, came with a certificate to be sanctioned or given permission or authorization to practice with Kude Brothers. I have called. They said they cannot find anything like that. But Obiabeka said, Kevin Akanekeke. Kevin to me prove it further. Kevin needs to prove further to show, say, Nana Akufo-Addo actually any Kude brothers anye juma from 1970 to 1980. I can normally in from 1970 to 1973. Easy. Because Akufo Addo say about France 1971 or 1970. Let's say 1970. And now about Ghana 1974. Technically, we are looking from 1970 to 1973. That is what we are looking at. 1970 to 1973, no. Akufo Addo ne Kude brothers yejuma. Ko pull data bia. We should not even worry ourselves. But because I wanted to give Akufo Addo the benefit of the doubt, bia date ni fine so I opened it out from 1970 to 1980. 10 years. So that at least we will see say Akufo Addo was telling the truth, because you cannot tighten him up. I want to help Akufo Addo. I want him to understand, say, I am here to let the world know the truth. Ebiana ni di kwashe 1976. Ana ni di kwashe 1975. Ana 74. Ana ebia 78 ana 79. Inti me man time kakra say ndi mo from 1970 to 1980. William Dankwa Nana Akufo Addo. Now this is what we found. Now also Tia say Akufo Addo saying he worked with Kude brothers until date. No lawyer on earth, this planet, has come out to say he worked with Akufo Addo in France. No lawyer. In fact, no partner, no lawyer has written a book to insert Akufo Addo's name in and say we were on this case together. No lawyer from the Kude brothers and no lawyer from the UK or France. And I'm going to say this on authority because a year body our France a sanction all foreign lawyers coming into France to practice. They have said Akufo Addo's name is not there. And another one, no lawyer from Kude brothers from 1853. Let's crash that. From 1970 all the way to 1980 has come out to say they practiced with Akufo Addo. No lawyer on earth. I'm saying this on authority. If there's one lawyer on earth who had written anything, Kude brothers or a partner, watch a single statement, Akufo Addo new woman, they should bring it out. Now, let's move forward. You see this? The documents I'm going to show you are all from Columbia Law School. The documents I am going to show you today are from Columbia Law School. Now, Columbia Law School is a school that any journalist or say or finding out something on anything, they can call them, email them, fax them. It is there. Now, Columbia Law School, our library view and I say more database view every single lawyer and every single law firm be in America on it lawyer be a juma be a from 18 what to 19 what. The Columbia Law School, Arthur W. Diamond Law Library. When you go there, any legitimate law firm be in America. What branches were UK? The United States government knows about legitimate say Kude brothers biano. When you go there, they will be able to pull out every single lawyer that partnered or worked with that law firm. So don't get this twisted. This is not just a mere thing. It's the Columbia Law School. Go there. It is the Arthur W. Diamond Law Library. The address is there. More New York now. We MPP for now. School. No. It is 435 West 116th Street, New York. Zip code is 10027. 10027. When you go there, this you need to pay to get access to it. I'm being honest with you. You need to pay. They'll give you everything you want. This is for educational purposes. I am here and I'm showing this is for educational purposes. Copyright issues. We just want Ghanaians to know what has been hidden from us. Into Koha, we mwamu Colombia no. Your own Columbia Law School no. Go to the Arthur W. Diamond Law Library and demand and ask, how much do I pay to get this? There's a law firm called Kude Brothers LLC, registered in the United States of America, an American law firm, not our branch of France. I want to know every single lawyer who has worked with this law firm. They will give you every lawyer. Thank you, Mr. Article. And remember, when a video comes, I'll play it because Ebabe share expose mu pepepe. So let's move forward. Now, 1970. Martindale Hubble Law Directory in 5 volumes. 103rd annual edition. 1970. Sorry, I said 1971, right? No, I'm looking for 1970. It's 1971. Okay. So I need to pull 1970 right now. So 1970, this is what happened. I'm going to show you all the lawyers are Juma Ewo Kude brothers. Okay, let me pull 1970 for you here. I think there was a little bit of so this is the 1970. I'm going to show you the list. And remember, this is a very bulk document with so much in it, with all the names. And when I show you here, I'll zoom in. You can refer to some of the names, but I'll publish the document. Send it by every single individual. Every single individual can also download it and read and check the names by themselves one by one. It's very, very important. It's a bulky document. So 1970, 102nd annual edition, 1970, volume 3, lawyers, Montana, Oregon, complete legal directory service. So Okoha, they will give you every state you want, but when you open the book, every country knew that particular law firm. Now, when you look at this, I'm still waiting for the video. That's why I'm a little distracted. All right, so when you look at this, 1971 DNA, 130th annual edition, 1971. Remember, Akufo Addo said, "Oyeden owie ofri eye." He said, Wikipedia said he was called to the English bar in 1971. So assuming he went to Paris in 1971, he was there from 1971 to 1974 because 1975 no Ghana. He was sworn in 1975 and come back to France. So we are looking at the window between 1971 to 1975, but we are going to look the window from 1970 to 1980. Now I'll publish all the documents. It's a lot. That's why you see me trying to move around. Now look at this. You see where I have marked red. Now, where I have marked red is Paris, France office, resident partners. And these are the lawyers who worked with Kude brothers. Now, so who reading very well, you see, say, on the right side, maybe I had it red. You had it red, I'm marking. This was the France office. The Kude brothers, they had offices in the UK and the US. Over US, different states. But when you go to France, they had one office. They had only one office in France. And this is the 1971 list of lawyers who were practicing with Kude brothers. And I wish I could expand it more, but I can't. But I can sit here and read some names to you. I will publish I'll publish this document. I'll publish this document after the show for everyone. But in 1971, you can see names like, let me zoom in. Paris, France office. Paris, France office. Resident, what we call resident partners. Lawyers who practiced there in 1971. You can see Charles Terom, born Newark, New Jersey, September 30th, 1914. Oba drew the second paragraph. You will see E. Ernest Goldstein, born in Pittsburgh. You can see a name like it's a lot. Like you see a lot of lawyers there with their background and what they practice. You see some where they worked, until admitted to the bar 1939, New York District of Florida 1957, U.S. Supreme Court, Harvard Law School, vice chairman. So every lawyer, Biano, and their resume, they will put it out there. And we have looked at all of the lawyers. This is 1971. Kude brothers, partners, every lawyer who practiced with them. And this is the France office. Now, it's a bulky document. You need to take your time to read. And then, especially France, France office, the number of lawyers who practiced there. At the time, Kude brothers ever 40 or about 650 partners. So you have to understand it's a huge law firm. Now, when you move to a year 1970, when you move to 1972, and also it's a huge document. And in the 1972 document, Kude brothers, when you go to the France officer, any other red, you can see it here. Charles Torem, born in Newark, he was the head there. When you read the rest, you will see all the lawyers there. If Akufo-Addo's name is there, you will see it. These were partners, lawyers, not Omuye Juma Ewo Kude brothers in France. And Kude brothers, they had an office in France. So they had their partners, their senior partner, whoever practiced there, they will be able to show you who worked with Kude brothers. So this is 1972. That's why I'm saying that I'm not the only person with a fact. So if you also want to follow up, do everything possible and request for these things. Columbia Law School, you can get it. The library is there. The next one is 1973. 1973. Now, the same 1973, when you go and check Kude brothers out of France, the partners they worked with, Akufo-Addo's name isn't in there. I only had it read now, it goes on and on. You can read all. Akufo-Addo's name isn't in there. They have partners they worked with. And nowhere does it show said Nana Akufo-Addo worked with them. Now, you can go on and go on because technically, we are looking at 1970 to 1973. Because mid-1974, 1975, Akufo-Addo was in Ghana. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say 75, no Ghana, 74. So let's say Yenja Akufo-Addo now. The can say Akufo-Addo 1970 to 1973. 72, 73. Were you at Kude brothers? Did you work with them? Who did you work with? Because we can go on. In fact, when I can 74, we can go to all the way to 79, we can go to 78, we can go to all these, years. And nowhere does it show Akufo-Addo in any of the documents. You can go all the way to 1980. The documents are there. Every single person who practiced there in in Missouri, New York, France, and when you open it up, you see 1980. Baby Ayamakeno, you see the France office there. You see the lawyers who were there. Paris, France. You will see the lawyers there. So the volume, the book is big. The volume is there. You can go to Oregon. You can go to Missouri office. You can go to New York office. You can go to Chicago office. The one we are looking at very well is the France office. And the France office, nowhere nowhere did it state say Nana Akufo Addo practiced with Kude brothers. But remember, Akufo Addo has been somebody he has been speaking on this issue for a long time. Every day, Biano or say he actually worked with Kude brothers in France and that he practiced. He did not just say, well, he said he practiced. Now, the video is in. Let us watch the video, because the reason why I want us to watch the video and say, video no is Akufo Addo speaking and telling us what he did, where he worked, why he was there. Send your beya, we will know say on one kind and then make kind. So the documents here, no, I'm just using the documents here to prove to you, say, whatever Akufo Addo said about practicing law, a year UK no, France no, it is actually true or a lie. Inti, I am going to do this. Let me play the audio Akufo Addo Ekase or practicing of France. Senegal, when I release this document, you can also use this as your reference to ask questions. Now, let me play this video. The video is in officially. The video is in now. Thank you, Mr. A. This is the video. The document, I'll publish it. Akufo Addo never worked with Kude brothers. Never. Now, let's watch this video.
You went to France and you lived and worked in France.
For 5 years.
5 years?
As a young man, yeah.
So when was that exactly?
At the very beginning of the 1970s. I went to France in 1970, in the last year of Georges Pompidou's presidency.
Right.
Yes.
That was my next question. So I thought I would trick you with who was the president. Yes.
Georges Pompidou.
Yes.
And as a Ghanaian who was educated in England, that had been the exposure, all the experience was English related, and I thought I should have experience of another European civilization before finally coming back to Ghana. And
so it was a choice.
It was a choice.
You thought you wanted a second European country.
I thought that experience would be good, and France made a lot of sense to me for the same reasons as I gave. All our neighbors are French, and I thought that it would make somebody, because right from the beginning I always intended a political career.
Oh, you thought of it.
Yes,
so you thought that you were actually accumulating assets
to make that experience. I come from a very political family.
Yes, which surprised me that you went to France in 1970, because actually the leader here, the head of state at that time,
was my father.
Was your father?
A little bit also to escape all of that.
Oh yeah, like we all do when we're young.
Yes.
So when you arrived in France, did you know France before? Or is it with first visit?
Yes, I'd been there a couple of times as a student in London. I'd gone, like all of us do, for every now and then for a weekend in Paris and all of that.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the idea that I was going to go and work there. And I was fortunate. A very famous and very well established American law firm was good enough to offer me a job in
Paris.
In Paris as conseil juridique, as they were known in those days in Paris. Those of us
it was the very beginning of a career of a lawyer when you begin as a conseiller juridique.
Absolutely, and I began it in France.
Right.
It was an extraordinary experience for me, because the firm was the main law firm for the major American companies that were doing business in Europe, in France and in Europe. So you found that the big American multinational companies, Ford, Lockheed, Bank of America, Citibank, all of these were clients of Kude. And it gave me a big insight into how those corporations work and the mindset that animates them. They also had important French
companies,
especially those who had a lot of international exposure, like Marcel Dassault. The French aviation company was a client of Kude's as well.
One of your clients was also a wine company, or is it?
Yes, Lille.
What strikes you?
So that's Akufo Addo telling Ghanaians, but he could not mention anyone he worked with. He could not mention any case he was involved in. He could not mention any particular lawyer that he actually worked with at Kude Brothers. Now we have gone into the books. We have done all the checks. We are going to release the document for the world to see. Now, this is a man who has carried himself around the world and Ghana that he actually worked in France with Kude Brothers. You can see, sir, in his presentation or his answering, he was still thinking the Obeka next. The man is full of lies. They cooked the Akufo Addo for us from day one. Because he has never said anywhere else a specific case that he was part of, a specific lawyer he worked with, a specific day he went to court, a specific case that he handled. All that he tells people, he worked with Kude Brothers. Now, the video is very important to me because the kind of person he is. I didn't say it. Now, those NPP people who always have issues with me, the NPP journalists in Ghana, I have shown you. I just showed you where you can go and access this document. Go there and access it and bring it back and say whatever I am saying here is a lie. But as we speak here, Nana Akufo Addo's own statement, and this is what he said.
You went to France and you lived and worked in France.
For 5 years.
5 years?
As a young man, yeah.
So when was that exactly?
At the very beginning of the 1970s. I went to France in 1970, in the last year of Georges Pompidou's presidency.
Right.
Yes.
That was my next question. So I thought I would trick you with who was the president? Yes.
Georges Pompidou.
Yes.
And as a Ghanaian who was educated in England, that had been the exposure, all the experience was English related. And I thought I should have experience of another European civilization before finally coming back to Ghana. And
so it was a choice.
It was a choice.
You thought you wanted a second European country.
I thought that experience would be good, and France made a lot of sense to me for the same reasons as I gave. All our neighbors are French, and I thought that it would make somebody, because right from the beginning I always intended a political career.
Oh, you thought of it.
Yes,
so you thought that you were actually accumulating assets
to make that experience. I come from a very political family.
Yes, which surprised me that you went to France in 1970, because actually the leader here, the head of state at that time,
was my father.
Was your father?
A little bit also to escape all of that.
Oh yeah, like we all do when we're young.
Yes, yes.
So when you arrived in France, did you know France before? Or is it with first visit?
Yes, I'd been there a couple of times as a student in London. I'd gone, like all of us do, for every now and then for a weekend in Paris and all of that.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the idea that I was going to go and work there. And I was unfortunate. A very famous and very well established American law firm was good enough to offer me a job in Paris. In Paris as conseil juridique, as they were known in those days in Paris.
So it was the very beginning of a career of a lawyer when you begin as a conseil juridique.
Absolutely, and I began it in France.
Right.
Really an extraordinary experience for me, because the firm was the main law firm for the major American companies that were doing business in Europe, in France and in Europe. So you found that the big American multinational companies, Ford, Lockheed, Bank of America, Citibank, all of these were clients of Kude. And it gave me a big insight into how those corporations work and the mindset that animates them. They also had important French
companies,
especially those who had a lot of international exposure, like Marcel Dassault. The French aviation company was a client of Kude's as well.
And one of your clients was also a wine company.
So that's your Akufo Addo. we expect to say those people defending Akufo-Addo on radio and on TV. Tomorrow they'll come out and say that Kevin Taylor is denigrating Akufo-Addo, and I will prove to Ghanaians and say Akufo-Addo actually worked with Kude brothers. He practiced there. He was on this case. His partner was this person. We are yet to receive any document from anybody around the world to say he was there when Akufo-Addo was there. No lawyer, nobody, even the secretaries or nobody has been able to come out to say they know this man. He worked with us. We are still waiting. After this show, we will release this document. We will let the world know. We have to start asking questions. Akufo-Addo is hush puppy. Akufo-Addo is hush puppy. He was cooked. He is an imposter. That's why I told you before I ended 2021 edition and said, let us not focus on Akufo-Addo. But our focus should be on Baumia and Alan Cash. They are the new criminals. Those are the people we need to look at. Omo and Akufo-Addo per se, to help him, protect him, these kind of crimes and lies. So it is important. With me, if you want to show me somewhere Bema or your bar, the MPP journalist Kwame Sefakan Ekuya Poki, Paul Adomochri, MPP, net 2 for journalists or man FM for how can Mumpo every document ma muntu min kan po nchirase. Sa o ma FM foi ye document ye de mama munum kan muntu min tiase. Mo so munye adwuma kakra. Mo be prove me, mo be disprove me say Kevin Taylor boa. Mo so mo frɛ ye. Mo koye mo checks. Akufo-Addo ni we na ye adwuma. Na mo ngja de mo ye ono jimi na mo say kuro no. You see, inti MPP journalists na mo Ghana no. I've given you work. This is an assignment. Go and do it and come prove me wrong. Me person mo disprove me na me jai me adwuma no. Because so Emma Ghana is too much. NPP PhD holders, we are waiting for you people to come out and tell us, say, this is a lie. You also went there and the document you got was different. You have called Kude. They have sent you a document to prove Akufo-Addo was in court. He practiced there. It has been sanctioned. And no na me pese moye. MPP reporters, Ekuya Poki, Kwame Sefakan, Kweku Bako, Paul Adomochri, Maneze Azuri, those communities, Asempa Obi, Dormaahene, you the MPP representatives in Ghana, no, I am telling you, you know the same platform. Go and do your checks and disprove me. And yes, sir, Obi Obi Din or Ghana in your statement on your platform, I will attack you. Media me catch you. If you don't go do your job, go do your research, bring facts out to come and disprove whatever we are putting out. That's what time radio, so TV, so bomb it doesn't matter. I will come after you because it is very important I protect my integrity. Paul Adomochri akafin the baby no. Paul Adomochri obi anim so he is a thief. O their girlfriend Claudia now free Germany no. Kofa Sunyane airport no cleaning job no man. Me then you dey here. You don't have brains. If you have brains, you will resign. Stop this childishness and resign. Fleshman. So let us from now no Makajem say education. Ye clean the show up. Everything will be on point. We will make sure say we will let Ghana for be who no PhD for more Legon. Law students are more Ghana. Lawyers, young lawyers are more MPP mu. Minim law cracking Ghana law school no. Young lawyers, Nana B, work or law school. Samuel Okunyako, more MPP, law students, no. We beg you, do your research, follow up, and come and disprove say Akufo-Addo is not hash puppy. If you are not able to do that, na obi bien na no ebo me din anywhere. I will come after you. I will come after you personally. And when I say I'll come after you, I will come on my platform and also attack you. Because to me and disproving me, don't talk about me. I will come on after you on my show and make sure the people will expose you to the core. I will come and attack you the same way you attack me on your platform. If you know you don't have the facts to disprove me, don't comment. But this is an assignment. This assignment is for 4 years. You're 2022, a 3-year assignment until anybody, any MPP journalist in Ghana comes out with another document, facts to disprove what I've shown here or what I've shown here or what I'm going to put out. Nobody should try mention my name in any of your commentaries, because when you do that, I'll take the game into the gutters. I am sending this warning before I start my season. I am sending this warning before I start my season. And some say, I will take it to the gutters. I understand me. I will take it to the gutters. So you know, I will let you, because if you don't want trouble, don't dare discuss me. If you don't have alternative facts to disprove me. I keep telling people, I am not that soft. This job is a tough job. I am setting the rules for 2020. If you can't disprove me, don't comment about me on your show. Me here obia publicity. I don't need it. When I put a scandal out, see, for almost 5 years, I have done scandals and done scandals. It is recently that I see Ghana Web carry my story. I'm not going to applaud them, and I'm not going to criticize them. It is their own job. They have to sit down and analyze it. Will this help their brand? Will they help Ghana? I will never come sit here and say Ghana Web is taking one of my stories. No, it is their job. If you want to help the people by giving them the facts. And if you're a journalist here, me here publicity will be a platform. So this platform, no adverts. I don't need anybody's coin. When we want to run adverts, I will come here and tell the people I want adverts. So I don't need your publicity. All that I need is help me push the facts out there. Finito. If you cannot do that, don't mention my name. Because I will send the game into the gutters. You know what I can do. Time and your febim. It's a simple thing. After this short break, I will pick phone calls.